The Shadow Conspiracy. It was a dark, moonless night when the impossible happened. The heart of Pakasia was in chaos. The director of the Secret Service had vanished without a trace, leaving behind only a single, cryptic message: "The shadow is rising." Ali Imran, the suave yet eccentric leader of the Secret Service, known for his razor-sharp intellect and unconventional methods, was the first to receive the news. He was in his penthouse, the city lights twinkling far below, when his secure line rang. "Imran, we have a situation." The voice on the other end was tense, almost shaking. "The director is missing." Imran's eyes narrowed. "What do you mean, missing?" "Disappeared. No trace. Only this note: 'The shadow is rising.'" Imran's mind raced. The shadow, a name whispered in the darkest circles of the underworld, a figure believed to be a myth, a ghost story told to scare rookies. But Imran knew better. The shadow was real, and if he was rising, it could only mean one thing: war. The next morning, Imran was at the headquarters, the air thick with tension. His team, including the stalwart Captain Fayaz and the brilliant but volatile Julia, were already at work, piecing together the mystery. Whoever did this knew exactly what they were doing. Julia muttered, her eyes scanning the director's last known movements on the screen. No forced entry, no signs of struggle. "It's like he vanished into thin air." "Not vanished," Imran corrected. "Taken. And this is just the beginning." As the team delved deeper, it became clear that this was no ordinary kidnapping. The Shadow was playing a game, one that involved not just the Secret Service, but the very stability of Pakasia. "We're dealing with a master tactician," Imran said, pacing the room. "Someone who knows our every move. We need to think like them, anticipate their next step." But even as they plotted their countermove, the Shadow was already several steps ahead. A series of high-profile assassinations rocked the city, each one more brazen than the last. Panic spread, and the people began to lose faith in the government, in the Secret Service, and in Imran himself. Imran knew that to catch the Shadow, he had to confront his past. There was only one person who knew the Shadow as well as he did, an old enemy. Once a friend, now locked away in a maximum security prison. "I never thought you'd come crawling back to me," Rashid the Viper sneered as Imran stood before him in the cold, gray interrogation room. "But I always knew you'd have to one day." "Cut the theatrics, Rashid," Imran replied coolly. "Tell me what you know about the Shadow." Rashid leaned forward, his eyes glinting with malice. "The Shadow is everywhere and nowhere. He's a ghost, a legend. But if you really want to find him, you'll have to look within your own ranks." Imran's heart skipped a beat. Could the Shadow have infiltrated the Secret Service? Was there a traitor among them? The thought was chilling, but there was no time to waste. The stakes were too high. As Imran and his team began to unravel the conspiracy, they uncovered a web of deceit that stretched to the highest levels of power. The Shadow's reach was vast, his influence terrifying. And worst of all, he was always one step ahead. The climax came on a stormy night, fitting for the end of a game that had brought Pakasia to the brink of collapse. Imran had finally discovered the Shadow's true identity, a revelation that shook him to his core. The traitor was none other than someone he had trusted with his life. The betrayal cut deep, but Imran had no time for emotions. He needed to end this, once and for all. In an abandoned warehouse on the outskirts of the city, Imran confronted the shadow. The air was thick with tension as they faced off, two masterminds in a deadly duel of wits. "You could have joined me, Imran," the shadow said, his voice calm, almost regretful. "Together, we could have ruled this country." "I don't need power," Imran replied, his voice steely. "I have something much stronger, justice." The battle was fierce, both men pushing each other to the limit. But in the end, it was Imran's determination, his unwavering commitment to his country, that gave him the edge. With the shadow defeated, the conspiracy unraveled, and the director was found, alive but shaken. The nation breathed a sigh of relief as Imran and his team restored order, the threat neutralized. But as Imran stood alone in his penthouse that night, looking out over the city, he knew that the battle was far from over. The shadow may have been defeated, but there would always be another threat, another challenge. And when that time came, Imran would be ready. The sun rose over Pakasia, casting a warm glow over the city. The crisis was over, but the scars remained. Imran's team had proven their loyalty, their strength, and their resolve. The nation had been saved, but at a cost. As Imran walked through the bustling streets, he couldn't help but notice the changes. The people were more cautious, the government more vigilant. The shadow's reign of terror had left its mark. But with every ending came a new beginning. Imran knew that as long as there were threats to his country, he would continue to fight, to protect, and to serve. The shadow had been a formidable enemy, but Imran was not one to be easily defeated. He was, after all, the most dangerous man in Pakasia, both to his enemies and to those who dared to betray him. And so, the city thrived under the watchful eye of Ali Imran, knowing that as long as he was there, they were safe. For now, at least, peace had returned. But in the shadows, new threats were already beginning to stir. The game was far from over. Continued. Like, subscribe, and share.